guys, no lipstick on the teeth? Okay. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a drugstore makeup starter kit. I've done 2 other drugstore videos before this one, but I'm kind of on a roll because I see that you guys really like it. And so I had a great idea to do a drugstore makeup starter kit. I know that majority of us, when we first start off doing makeup, we tend to start off with drugstore products. They're more easily accessible and they're a lot more affordable. And I know tons of people, my own personal friends included, just prefer to get their makeup at the drugstore because, again, it's more convenient and it's a lot more affordable. And I know that when I started doing makeup, something that I wish that I would have had is kind of the cliff notes to what's the best at the drugstore. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys like my tried and true, my go-to, and all these products are going to be able to get you started and cover all the bases. So we go all the way from primer to finishing products, and there's different variations of each product. So for example, there's like a powder blush, and a liquid blush, just so that I try to keep most of you guys in mind. I feel like, you know, working in cosmetics, I feel like that sounds a little bit pretentious to say, but you know, just doing this, having a YouTube channel, I get to try so many different products, and so I feel like I have a really good stance on like what's good, what really works. So if you're into it, please be sure to keep watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, so let's get started with primer. Now, primer is kind of a controversial step. I mean, you'll sometimes hear people saying not to prime is a crime, and then you'll hear some people saying that they don't even use primers at all. Now, I personally feel if you don't think that you need it, if you don't feel like your makeup routine is missing anything, then I don't think you necessarily need primer. Now, if you feel like your makeup is wearing off a lot during the day, or you have uneven texture and skin issues, then primer could possibly be for you. And one of my current favorites, and has been one of my favorites for the past few years, is the NYX Angel Veil. Now, this one slightly mattifies the skin. It leaves you with a satin finish, and because of its thick, silky texture, it's really good for filling in pores and just kind of giving the base an all-over evenness so that makeup's not settling into dips and divots in the skin. And you guys can see it does leave a slight white cast, but once you put makeup on top of it, it's really good. And it will slightly mattify the makeup, but thus in turn making the makeup last longer. So NYX Angel Veil is a really great one. Illuminator you would typically put on after primer, before foundation, to kind of peek out behind your foundation, or you can mix it in with your foundation. So my go-to, the one that I've been using for so many years, is the Revlon Photo Ready Skin Lights in the shade Bare Light. This is a soft, slightly peachy champagne, and it just is ultra gorgeous. And I love this one. Another one that I've really been liking lately is the Rimmel Soho Good to Glow. I'm sorry, the shade Soho Glow in Rimmel's Good to Glow. Now this one's a little bit more of a bronzy taupe and slightly more silver on my skin. So there's Good to Glow and there's Revlon Photo Ready Skin Lights. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. It's just a matter of preference. What do you want? Something that's a little bit more peachy and gold, or something that's a little bit more bronze, slightly silver, but it is still pretty gold. In terms of foundation, I don't think you can go wrong with the Maybelline Fit Me line. My favorite is the Dewy Poreless version, which is the one I'm holding right here, but they also make a mattifying version as well. They have an amazing shade selection, and I think it's really great that you can pick between wanting a dewier finish or a mattifying finish. Typically, if you have drier skin, you're going to want the dewier version, and you can always set with some powder, whereas if you have an oilier skin type, the mattifying version might be more fitted to your liking, just because it's going to last a little bit longer on an oily skin type and not be broken down by your natural skin oils quite as easily as something with a dewy finish. Now, for those of you that want reference, I do flip-flop between the shades 240 and 210, sometimes the shade above 210 as well. It just kind of depends where I'm at skin tone-wise. Keeping those of you in mind who don't want to wear liquid foundation but still want a little bit of coverage, a great alternative is the Maybelline Dream Fresh BB Cream. And again, with the Dream Fresh BB, they have a dewier version and a more mattifying version. And I believe the mattifying version actually has salicylic acid in it, so it treats your skin and the problem areas while you're wearing it. I wear the shade Medium Deep. It's really nice and sheer, it's very hydrating, and it's just a nice comfortable wear to where you don't feel like you've got a lot going on the skin. So this one is definitely my favorite BB cream at the drugstore. My current favorite more full coverage concealer at the drugstore right now is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. I really like this because it's buildable. You can wear it sheer, but you can also build it completely full coverage and it never looks artificial or too cakey on the skin. I don't find it to settle into fine lines or migrate around the face. I'm sure if I'm sweating more or my skin's a little bit more oily on that specific day, it can settle and move around slightly, but a touch of powder fixes that completely. I find this to perform really well on its own without being set with powder. It's great for highlighting, doing some liquid highlighting, and it's also great for just concealing and brightening up the under eyes. Now, I know that full coverage concealer isn't for everyone, so again, keeping those of you in mind who want a little bit more of lighter coverage, I would definitely recommend the No. 7 Radiant Glow Concealer. It comes in this little click pen with a little bit of with a little brush on the other end, and it's just a really nice sheer concealer that almost has a slight gel formulation to it, so it's hydrating, it's cooling on the skin, and it just looks like a really sheer kind of milky coverage on the skin. Very, very beautiful. Also would recommend this one highly. Also would highly recommend this one. Now, powder is one of the hardest products for me to find one that I really love, because I feel like powder can almost ruin all the hard work that you've done with your liquid products if it doesn't, you know, sit on the skin correctly. And powders can also be quite aging, right? I mean, sometimes they can kind of settle into the fine lines and just cling to dry patches and just accentuate all the things on your face that you don't want it to accentuate. So I found my two favorite drugstore powders, and the one that I've really been liking for several years now, and the one that I really recommend to a lot of people, is the Revlon Nearly Naked powder. Now, this is extremely sheer. It does look like it has coverage, but you won't get this much color deposit on the skin. It's actually just on the brink of translucent. Now, this one's going to be really great for those of you with texture issues on the skin, so bumps, clogged pores, dry patches, so on and so forth, because it is matte and there is no shimmer to this whatsoever. So it looks great under the eyes and in the center of the face, T-zone, you know, all of that stuff. But if you're a little bit more on the dry side and you want a powder that's going to put a little bit more life and ethereal glow into your skin without being too much overboard in that arena, I would definitely say check out the NYX No Filter powder. It has just the slightest sheen. I think you guys can kind of see that shine reflecting in the pan on camera. I know you can in person, but it's just got these really fine like micro pearls, and they kind of create a veil of life on the skin. I don't want to say shimmer because it's almost undetectable to the eye, but definitely in comparison to a powder that's completely mattifying, you can see that this one's got a little bit more shine and life to it. Alright, so now let's talk contour and bronze. So if you're someone who wants to do contouring on the regular, just, you know, a nice, light, natural contour, nothing too dramatic, because you guys know I'm not really into that look, one of the best things you can do is actually buy a cool undertoned face powder, just so that it's not going to be too warm and you know it's going to more accurately mimic a shadow versus a bronzer. So a really great line to check out is the L'Oreal True Match line. Now, I really like C7, which is a cool toned face powder. These are so finely milled and they look really nice, natural, and almost undetectable on the skin if you apply them correctly. Don't go overboard with the contour. It's always better to just do a little bit and then contour more. Like, you can always add more, but you can't take away. And if you want to use a cream contour that's still going to be easy to use and natural looking and not look greasy on the skin, I cannot recommend the CoverGirl True Blends Cream Contour Palette more than anything. I really think that these are such gorgeous shades. I love the bronzer, I love the contour, and I love the highlight. Very sheer, easy to apply, and honestly, you could contour and highlight your face with your fingers using this kit because it's so easy to blend out. So I can't recommend those enough. For bronzers from the drugstore, it actually did kill me to not mention the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, because I do love that, but I think these are just better, and if I can only pick two, I'm going to pick these over the Physicians Formula Bronzer. So this is like a really awesome secret. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder in Cocoa, and there's a couple shades that are lighter than this. These are pretty warm undertoned and they look so gorgeous on the skin because they have like a microfine pearlescence to them. So they make the skin reflect back light, look very youthful, plump, almost younger because they just reflect back the slightest amount of light. They look super gorgeous on the skin. I can't recommend these enough to you guys. They are really awesome to use as bronzers, super finely milled and sheer but buildable. So this one is really pretty. Now, if you want a bronzer that's a little bit more of that really true terracotta bronze, I would say check out the Rimmel Waterproof Bronzer. This is so a la like Guerlain, YSL. It's just that like true terracotta bronze that can sometimes look slightly orange, but applied a little bit more selectively on the face, it's absolutely gorgeous. You just have to apply it with a light hand at first, kind of figure out how much your face can handle of a shade like this. You kind of have to do a little bit of gauging. So this one's going to be slightly more warm and orange, but not in a bad way, and then this one's going to be a little bit more olive and true bronze. So it just kind of depends what you're going for. So let's talk highlighters. One of my absolute favorites is actually a single eyeshadow from Maybelline. This is the Maybelline eyeshadow in the Glow Down, and this is just kind of a true light champagne gold that I think most skin tones would really love. Really pigmented, super emollient, and only $3. And then another really great one is the Physicians Formula Bronzer Strip. This is not something I would recommend as a bronzer, but as a highlight, it's absolutely gorgeous. And this one is a little bit more of a gold bronze. It's slightly more bronze than the Glow Down, as you guys can see. There's the Glow Down. It's a little bit more light of a white gold, and then this one's more of a bronze gold. And then the other one I would really recommend is the Soap & Glory Wonder Bronze. One, you guys will see a lot more rose gold. So depending on your skin tone and what you like, I think these three would cover most people. This one would be really suited for darker skin tones, this one a little bit more of medium, and then this one light skin tones. I just tried to get a highlight in here that I thought most people would like. One of my favorite powder blushes from the drugstore is the L'Oreal True Match in the shade Subtle Sable. Now this is the blush that I'm wearing today, and it's just a really nice neutral, natural flush of a tone, and it's never distracting, and it's going to pair well with a multitude of eye looks. If you pick something that's like too pink or too orange, it can sometimes conflict with the eyeshadow and lip color. So starting off with a blush like this is going to be the safest bet because you're going to be able to wear it with anything from blue eyeshadow to black eyeshadow to, you know, no eyeshadow at all. So it's going to be really versatile. But if you want something that's a little bit more sheer and somewhat like more intuitive to apply, because I think you would use your fingers with this, or that's how I like to use it, and I just think that these look so natural and just like you're not even wearing anything on the skin at all. These are the Pixi by Petra Sheer Cheek Gels. Now these are my two favorite shades. We have Flushed and Rosy. Flushed is going to be more of a deep berry, like Cabernet wine type of stain, whereas Rosy is more of like a poppy pink on the skin, and these are so easy to apply. You just squirt a little bit into your fingers, rub between your two fingers, and apply right to the apples of your cheeks and just blend for about a minute, and you will see that it really stains the skin, and it looks like you're not even wearing product on your skin. It looks like your skin is naturally that flush. Like this is really that post-workout glow secret. Well, it's not the post-workout glow secret, but it will make you look like you just worked out. My favorite brow pencil is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. It's got this really gorgeous, really tiny, fine tip. You get a spoolie on the other end for brushing around the product, but this is so tiny and so great for creating those hair-like strokes in the brows. If you're just starting off, I think a really great gel would be either clear or slightly tinted. Now this one comes in tints and clears. It's the Maybelline Master Brow Drama. I think that this one is super user-friendly. It's not too tinted, and the brush itself doesn't pick up too much product. So again, it's going to be a little bit easier for you guys to just kind of practice and get the footing right when applying brow product so that you don't go overboard, and it will keep your brows in place all day. The Maybelline Brow Drama is setting and plumping, but if you want something that's going to kind of actually, you know, bulk up the brow and give the illusion of fuller, fluffier brows, definitely try the Essence Make Me Brow. It's got these little fibers in the gel formulation that adhere to your brows and can kind of just bulk them up and make them look a lot more full. And it is also slightly tinted, so it gives the illusion of more color on the brow as well. I think a really great standby liquid black liner and black pencil are going to get you through everything that you need. So my favorite is the L'Oreal Infallible Super Slim liquid liner. It's got this gorgeous super slim tip, so you can get right into the inner and outer corner in between the lashes, and it makes it so much easier to create a sharp flick on the outer corner of the eye. And then if you want a black liner that is going to stay put in your waterline and in your what is that? Waterline and tight line. If you want a black liner that's going to stay put in your waterline and your tight line, you want to try the Rimmel Scandalized Waterproof. But this will seriously, hell or high water, it will stay in the waterline. It is budge proof. It is so good. So definitely check out Rimmel Waterproof Scandalized. Mascara is so personal, so I'm just going to go with one of my tried and trues. It's L'Oreal Miss Manga. It gives you a really gorgeous wispy lengthened effect on the eyes, and it volumizes, and it looks really beautiful and doll-like on the eyes. So I would definitely say L'Oreal Miss Manga has been one of my favorites for the past like 4 years or maybe longer. I really like this one. Now, eyeshadow primer is actually optional. Sometimes I like the way eyeshadows look when they've been on the eyes without a primer, when they kind of crease a little bit and look a little bit more oily and smudgy. But if you want your eyeshadows to last longer, appear more vivid, and prevent creasing, then definitely check out Milani eyeshadow primer. This is pretty much translucent, and it will make your eyeshadows appear much more vivid. It will help them blend out slightly easier. It just gives them something to grip to, and it will also prevent creasing. So Milani's eyeshadow primer is really good. And in terms of shadows, I didn't know if I would want to pick a palette or single shadows, so I just went with single shadows. And I definitely have really been liking the L'Oreal Color Riche single shadows. I think if you picked 3 shades that you were going to wear all the time just for like every day, you could definitely cover all the bases and pick, you know, the colors that you would be most likely to wear. You just really need a good transition shade, a good color to put on your lid, and then a dark color that you can smoke out when you want to. I think 3 shadows is plenty enough to get you started. So I would definitely say check out the L'Oreal Color Riche single shadows, and I also really like the NYX single shadows. I think that these are really great quality too, and super pigmented. Okay, lips is where I really had to restrain myself, because I could honestly just go on and on about lip products in general, not just from the drugstore. So I chose a lip pencil and lipsticks. I am not going to be talking about gloss in this video because it'll go on way too long. So if you want a separate video on drugstore lipsticks and lip glosses and lip pencils, I will do that for you. But just in terms of starter kit, I thought lipstick is something that is pretty hard to navigate in the drugstore just because there's so many different products, and I really like these the best. So my favorite lipstick line from the drugstore, in terms of nudes, a really foolproof way to find a good nude is to use the Maybelline Color Sensational line. Now they have the matte version, which is going to have kind of this like frosted plastic packaging, and then they have the more like glossy creamy version shades, which are going to have this more, you know, glossy top. So one of my favorites is Totally Toffee from Maybelline, and it's just a really pretty taupey nude. And then Nude Nuance from the matte line, which is obviously like a more matte brown, kind of like spicier nude. Some other really great ones are the Revlon Color Lustrous lipsticks. Now I picked a red because I really like Revlon's reds. They make awesome red lipsticks. This one is Cherries in the Snow, which is actually more of a pink, but it's really pretty. And then this one is Toast of New York, which is kind of like this really gorgeous buttery rum color. So there is Toast of New York. And then I also have recently really been liking the Wet n Wild Velvet Matte Lip Crayons. These are gorgeous and they're really easy to apply and also quite sheer. So they're kind of like hard to mess up. They're a lot easier to apply without a mirror. So there's the Wet n Wild Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. What are they called? Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. Velvet Matte Lip Color. Now, lip pencils are optional, but sometimes they're great for giving yourself a guide and also making your lip color last longer. So some of my favorites from the drugstore are the NYX Suede Matte Lip Pencils. This one is in the shade London, and it's just a really pretty peachy nude. So there is London right there. If you are completely against lipstick and you want a true lip stain, the CoverGirl Outlast lip markers are awesome. They don't have the shades on the actual thing, which is super annoying, but this one I know is called Cinnamon Smile, and it's just like a marker for your lips. Super easy to apply, there's no shine, and it looks ultra natural on the lips. So there is Cinnamon Smile. Okay, finishing sprays. So if you don't typically have a problem with your makeup, you know, fading off too much throughout the day, and you just want something that's going to keep the skin nice and moist and hydrated and keep the makeup from looking chalky and overly powdery, definitely check out the Pixi Milky Skin Mist. This is really lightweight, it's hydrating, and it's just going to bring back the life in your face after you've already powdered it. Now, if you want your makeup to last longer and kind of stay true and matte throughout the day, I would say check out the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Makeup Setting Spray. Now, this doesn't typically affect the finish of makeup, so if you have a matte finish with lots of powder, this isn't going to interfere too much. It will slightly take away a little bit of the powder effect, but it's not going to be anything like this one, and it's just going to keep your skin and your makeup in check all day, a lot longer than it would be without a setting spray. So these are optional. It's just kind of if you feel your routine is missing something and you want to add something just to finish off the face at the end of the day. Finishing sprays are great to throw in at the end of the mix. Alright guys, so that's it for this drugstore makeup starter kit. I covered everything from primer to finishing sprays, and I tried to cover different formulations of each individual product just so that you guys could take your own preferences and skin types into mind and kind of help you guys navigate the drugstore a little bit easier. I'm also trying to kind of come up with best of certain brands. So hopefully in the future I can do like the best of Maybelline, the best of Revlon, the best of Almay, the best of etc., so on and so forth. I've been saying that way too much throughout this video. That's how you know I've been filming this video for a really long time, when I start saying the same saying like over and over again and I'm like, Dacey, stop. But if you guys have any questions, you know you can always hit me up in the comments down below, and you know that I will have all the products listed and linked for you in the description, as well as my Snapchat, my Instagram, and my Twitter. So please be sure to come follow me on there if you haven't. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you didn't already. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what are some other videos you'd like to see in the near future. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye guys!